Are you rushing through the manuscript process? A lot of writers rush. They rush the whole process. Are you rushing through it? You don't want to rush the process. Any part of the process. And I'm going to tell you why. And what parts we like to rush through. Hi, I'm Autumn Bardot. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today it's all about rushing through the process of writing. So I did this in the beginning and I don't do it anymore. And I think the main reason we rush through the process is because we are so eager. We're so excited. We're so eager to get our book out there, like all caps, out there. Either you're going to self-publish and you want it out there and you need it out there now, or you want to get it rushed through and you want to get into that, write that query and get it rushed out because you're so excited. And that's where things can go horribly wrong. So stick with me through this video and I'm going to explain what parts we rush over and why you should not rush through them. Okay, here we go. So maybe you're rushing through the first draft because of NaNoWriMo and you're trying to make that 50,000 word count. I get that. A lot of people are really rushing through it so they can have achieved that magical, I don't know why it's magical, that magical number. Maybe you're working through rushing of revision and you're really eager to get the manuscript done. Maybe you're rushing through editing and you're rushing through that part of the process. Maybe you're rushing on your cover creation and you're there, you're done. The cover is the last part. You just want to get it out there. Maybe you're rushing through your teaser paragraph that you're going to have on the product page for Amazon and all the different platforms that you're selling your book, and you're rushing through the process of writing that intriguing line, that intriguing paragraph. I don't want to call it a summary because that's not what it is, and you're rushing through the writing of that. Maybe you are rushing through the KDP dashboard and rushing through looking for categories and choosing the right keywords. Or maybe you're rushing through query writing. And once again, all of this is because you want to get the book out there. And I hear about people rushing through it. And actually, they don't say they're rushing through it. They just say like, oh, I wrote a query letter in an hour. It was easy. Wait, what? When I hear somebody do something way too fast, I know that they are rushing it. Okay, just don't rush. I'm going to give you some hard, honest facts, and you may not like it. I know sometimes the truth is hard and we don't want to hear it, or we don't want to apply it to us. Somehow we're always the exception, right? No, you're not. You're really not. And I know a lot of writers do this because, like I said, I read it on Facebook or Twitter or all those different media sites, and I'm like, you're rushing through it. But yeah, people, they don't want to hear that. Okay, so let's look at the common rushing things that you do and why, the reasons why you should not rush. All right, the first draft rush. If you're rushing through the first draft, and once again, it may be for NaNoWriMo, okay? Maybe not. It's only 1 month out of the year, okay? You're often going to have to go back and get rid of a lot of the fluff, the scenes that don't need to be there, the extra filler space, the extra descriptions. And you may have written yourself into a few plot holes. And they can be very difficult to get out of, especially if you're if the climax or the resolution or the necessary character growth depends on that plot and those plot holes. So you've just created a whole lot of work for yourself, extra work that you need to get out of. There's also the revision rush. I know a lot of writers, and you're not going to want to hear this again, you can't revise a novel in a day or a few days or a week. You can't, like the first draft or the second draft of a novel, you're not revising. You're tweaking a few things. I'll say it again. If it takes you a week to revise your novel, you're not revising it. You're tweaking a few things. Revisions take time. In a scene, you need to look for these things: sustained tension, conflict, suspense, action, change, theme threads, humor, characterization, sensory detail, and the mood and theme or feeling of your setting. Characterization, did I say that? I could have said that already. Pivot point, emotion, depth, discovery, worsening, plot developments, plot points like twists or surprises, raised stakes for the characters, and emotional arcs. Make sure that all your characters are, their emotional arc, their character arc is moving forward. Those are the things you're looking for in a revision. And that takes time. So if you're thinking, wait, Autumn, could you go back and repeat all that stuff? I will link my scene checklist. I think I did it about a year ago in the description box below. And so I go into much more detail with that. So you're not really revising if you can do it in a couple days or a week. I know for me, my revisions take months. Months, plural, months. Okay, so let's talk about edit rush jobs. I hear this all the time. I edited my novel yesterday, or I edited it over the weekend, or I edited it in a few days. Really? No, you didn't. You skimmed. You skimmed. Skimming is not editing. Words that need to be capitalized and don't need to be capitalized, and staying consistent with those words. It's a problem I see a lot, especially the capitalizing things that shouldn't be capitalized. Editing is more than just periods and commas. It is making sure that you're not using awkward words or overused words or words you don't need or repetitive words. And that's repetitive, that's not done purposefully. It's looking at repetitive phrases and repetitive imagery that you may use, deleting words you don't need, tightening a paragraph or a sentence, splitting up a paragraph that perhaps is just too big and chunky, and people go, oh, that paragraph's so long. You'd be surprised that people don't like big, chunky paragraphs. Like poems, when you move to another line, okay, that can add tension, that can speed up or slow down a sentence. So if you're separating a sentence from the paragraph, people will read it differently, feel it differently than they would if it was just embedded with the rest of the paragraph. Also, did you get rid of unneeded dialogue tags? I see a lot of times that writers have dialogue tags and then they have their action. No, get rid of the dialogue tag and just put in the action. You don't need the dialogue tag. And then, are your spellings consistent? And those are things you can look at for in your style sheet. The next is for, and I'll leave the whole style sheet thing, what that's for, in the description box below as well. Also, rushing through the cover design. Bad covers don't sell books. Great covers do. Forget the adage, you can't judge a book by its cover. Maybe you can't, but we do. We do judge a book by its cover. That's how readers judge. That's how we all judge a cover. They'll make a judgment about the book and about you, the author, as well. I know it's not fair, but that's that's how it works. You need to take time to find the right font, the right colors, the right image, the right placement, and make sure that your cover meets genre cover conventions. Genre cover conventions. And yes, of course, I'm going to say once again, I have a link in the description box below as well for that. So genre cover conventions. Don't rush looking through images. I usually start mid-revision process looking for images and all the different image scenes that I use, because it takes time and you just get like image overload if you try to do it too much. The same with fonts. I think it takes me weeks to find a font if I want something that's outside of the norm and it's a specific font that I'm looking for. You get a little font crazy after a while. Give yourself time to find these things. Covers sell books. Don't settle for a cover. If it comes back from your designer and it's not quite right, do not settle. Don't do it. It will cost you sales. If you need more information about the importance of covers, yes, in the description box below. Lots more detail there about following the cover conventions. The next is rushing through the teaser paragraph for the product sales page on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those places where you sell your book. This is so very critical to selling your book that you want to take time to write this great paragraph that is intriguing and interesting. And it has to be intriguing and interesting enough and not a summary, that the reader buys it, because the reader looks at a cover and then they will look at that. And no typos, don't put any typos in it. And they're going to be able to tell a lot about that. If it's poorly written, they won't be intrigued. If it has typos and all kinds of problems, they're going to assume if that's poorly done, then the rest of the book is poorly done. Okay? I start this once again during the revision process. I just work on it and work on it and work on it. And I make sure to have those key words that I need in there, because once again, that is part of the keyword process. Beyond just the keywords that you will have in your dashboard, you get more keywords. All of those are keywords. The Amazon search bar engine is a huge search engine. You want to maximize it. And by making sure you have embedding the right keywords into that. So the keywords, and then intriguing and interesting enough that a potential reader will hit the buy button. All right, the next is rushing through the query letter process, or the process of writing the query letter. You can't write a query letter in a day. Well, maybe you can, but it's not going to be your very best query letter. And once again, I start this very early on and I keep tweaking and tweaking, because you want to make it intriguing and interesting enough for the prospective agent to want to move on and to actually read those submitted pages. Because if that's not interesting, chances are they are not even looking at the opening pages. So start early. Make sure you run it through a scrupulous process of, grammar and everything else, that it is on point, because this is it. This is how you're trying to sell yourself, your skills, and your book. Okay, the next one is, and yes, I have a query. I have a query video too. Okay, all in the description box. All right, the next is rushing through the KDP dashboard, keywords and categories. Let's do categories first. So those categories, KDP gives you two. But Amazon allows you up to 10 categories. You want to put the main 2 right in the dashboard, but then you just hit the help button for KDP and you can add more categories. However, they want them in the correct string that they have. It makes it easy for them, and if you don't, they will usually just kick it back to you, okay? Or put in something that they thought you wanted, okay? How do you find that? All right, I just do you go along, you open up your Amazon, fiction, sci-fi, whatever it is, genre you're writing. There's the left-hand side, and you're clicking through all of those as they open up and have more drop-down menus, and then you write that string. And I usually do it with the little arrow. So it's, would be fiction, and then the little arrow, and then it would be romance, and then the little arrow, and then it gets more and more specific. So that takes time. And I always try to put them in order of importance, not importance, but in order of how they're most like the genre. All of those will help your book get seen when readers type in the search engine. So take time doing that. The second part is the keywords. Of course, there's the keywords that you're going to embed or to write into your product page to sell your book, but then it's the keyword strings in your KDP section. And here's the thing, you need to look that stuff up. It does take time. There are people who do that. There are editors who will do that for a price, and that takes a lot of research because once again you're typing in those keywords and seeing what comes up on Amazon's product page, and is it aligning with what you're selling. Okay, so it's so important to do your research on that, and that all takes time because as you're thinking of all of these keywords, and usually I'll get a list together and I'll put it on my phone. I'll be like, oh yeah, that could be a keyword. And then I go home on Amazon and then I check the keywords and see what comes up. And maybe 5 million things come up. And then maybe I don't want that keyword. So you get those keyword strands, you want to make the best of it. Don't rush through finding the best keyword strands. Okay, so use that Amazon search engine to your as best as you can to your advantage. Here's the truth, and I threw a lot of information at you. I know I did. So don't rush. Don't rush the process. Great writing, great revisions, great editing, great covers, great keywords, great categories, great marketing take time. Don't rush the process. In your eagerness to get your book out there, don't rush the whole query process, the query writing process to, throw it as many agents as you can, as fast as you can. Don't do it. Do it right. Take your time. Double check, triple check, quadruple check yourself. Run it through some people who know. Take your time, slow down. Rein in your impatience. And I know that's so hard, especially for first books. They're so hard, but rein in your impatience. I know people who rush through this process and they're working on their third book. And I'm like, oh, they rushed through all of it. But you know what? They don't think they did. They just think they're hyper efficient. No, you didn't do it the way you needed to do it. Okay, rein in that impatience. I know it's hard. Don't rush. Breathe and remember that quality is not an act, it's a habit. Okay, I threw a lot at you, and that's it for this week. And as always, dream, create, but with patience, and embrace with patience, and don't rush. See you next week. Bye-bye.